Good afternoon and a warm welcome from the Breyer Group Stadium, where Salford City are away at Leyton Orient this afternoon. It's one of the most hotly anticipated games of the season between third place Ammies and league leaders Orient. With 5 points separating the sides, it makes this game a very high stakes one. With that in mind, neither manager makes a change in their respective wins on New Year's Day, with new signing Jordan Maguire-Drew on the bench. But the joint league top scorer Macaulay Bond starts, with Salford's also joint top league scorer Adam Rooney on the bench. Salford kicking left to right as we watch it, and the Salford fans on the far side of the ground from where we are. That end's still filling up, by the way. It'll be interesting to see how many are in there come 10 minutes time. But for now, a big match is underway off the whistle off Richard Hume, and Brophy goes back to it. Keta sends a long ball down the left hand side. Bond heads in the field. It's away by Hogan, headed back forward by Charlie Lee. Hogan away again, picked up by Dayton. Hogan again there making the interception. In a long ball towards Green on the halfway line, but it's headed away by Sam Ling. And in the middle, Nolan battles with Dayton. Whitehead nips in to try and win possession. Orient just about gets it away. Nearly give it away to Matt Green, but it comes down to Joe Widdowson. And Widdowson goes back to number 6, Josh Coulson. Keta, that's the right. Ling's got space to move forward in on the right hand side. Plays the ball up the line into winger James Brophy. And Orient win themselves a throw in on the far side, high on the right. And off to Sam Ling. Started the game at the Peninsula Stadium back in August. The opening game of the season, seems a very long time ago now. And Ling's giving the ball off now to Charlie Lee, who I suspect has got a long throw in. The nearest Leyton Orient plays in the 6-yard box as it comes in from Ling, a low trajectory. It's headed behind by Nathan Pond and out for a corner to the O's. Trying to put some early pressure on the Ammies here at the Breyer Group Stadium. Do you like an early goal, Orient? Scored 7 in the opening 15 minutes of games this season in the league. This one goes short into Joby McAnuff. McAnuff back out to the right hand side to Brophy, returns it down the line to McAnuff, who swings across it. She is caught by Chris Neal at his near post. So still 0-0 for anyone just joining us. Just 2 minutes gone here at the Breyer Group Stadium. Let us know what your predictions are down in the chat. I think it'll be a continuation of a Happy New Year for Salford, or do you think the league leaders will have too much? Neal goes long with the kick. It comes down to Sam Ling, and the pressure from Matt Green. Where he's right behind him, and Ling's clearance comes down to Nolan. Back to Torre, down the line looking for Walker to make the run out, but it's cleared away by Ling, right down the line on the right hand side. Piergianni being closed down by Josh Cromer. But too much pace on the ball, and it's out behind for a goal kick to Salford City. There will be a lot of eyes on the Breyer Group Stadium this afternoon. Just looking elsewhere, Files away at Bromley. Chesterfield have been linked with John Sheridan after he sensationally quit Carlisle United this week at home against the form team Ebbsfleet United, and Wrexham are at home against Dover, while Harrogate's are away at Sutton United, not too far away. Our title or promotion rivals. Wiseman intercepts the ball out to the left hand side, but Widdowson wins it back for Orient, coming forward on the left hand side now, the full-back formerly of Dagenham and Redbridge. His ball in field. Cromer switching play out to the right to Ling, another former Daggers player. Ling swings the cross in from the right. Pond heads clear from the penalty spot, and Walker coming in, nods the ball down to Gaffney, and Gaffney with the ball down the left hand side. Matt Green's chasing, Brill's come out of his area and smashes that ball clear onto the roof of the East Stand, where an iconic Leyton Orient, I don't know what you call it, but the part of the roof that says Leyton Orient, quite commonly associated with this ground, protrudes. Torre with the throw on the left hand side into Walker, gets it back and through, looking for Gaffney, just misses him, and Green was more alert, might have got onto that one, but Orient cleared the ball. It's forward by Piergianni, away by Ekateta. Comes down to Walker, but Walker runs into Ling, and now possession comes down to Dayton. Ling is ball through the middle. It's won back by the Ammies though, and it comes back to birthday boy Nathan Pond. 4 minutes gone in this one, and Salford fans are making the noise on the far side from us as Green chases the ball down the left hand side, but it's out behind for an Orient goal kick. The first real action of the afternoon for Dean Brill, apart from that clearance a few seconds ago. He's not had too much to do so far. There's Chris Neal for that matter. There's also a few spectators come out on the various balconies, all four corners here at the Breyer Group Stadium. We've got apartment blocks. On the way to the right hand side, there's an apartment block right behind the stand, so no doubt some are watching from the windows. I'll just go show there's a lot of interest in this game. It's Green chasing the ball down the left hand side. It's cleared away by Coulson, headed back by Lee, given away to Matt Green, who wins a corner as that somewhat fortuitously bounces off the corner flag. So a corner for Salford, goes to the right hand side. 5 minutes played here at the home of the league leaders. And Whitehead's placing the ball down. He's got Tom Walker short. Green's in the 6 yard area, and Hogan, Gaffney, Pond and Piergianni make their way up into the area. The lead would be nice for the Ammies as Whitehead floats across down into the middle. Piergianni comes in at the back post, and Salford City take the lead here at the Breyer Group Stadium. Just 5.5 minutes on the clock, and Piergianni stooping in gets on the end of Whitehead's cross, and it's third place Salford 1, Leyton Orient 0. Best start possible for Graham Alexander's side, ahead within 6 minutes. It's really the first time that Salford have got forward. It's Piergianni's, I think, 6th goal of the season, and that makes it his best scoring season in his career. He just got the right side of his man. From there, Orient were in trouble, and they trail here to Salford City. Absolutely perfect start, and we're back underway. Salford with a throw in on the right hand side. Liam Hogan up the line looking for Matt Green. The ball comes off Widowson and back down to Green, and Gaffney now flicks play all the way over to the left hand side to Toure, and fielding to Walker, and Walker back out to the left hand side for Toure. Plenty of space for him to move forward into, and he dummies across before playing a short pass into Gaffney. Gaffney back to Whitehead, trying to stab it back through, but just put off by Charlie Lee. And coming through is number 17 Dale Gorman, and Orient with possession back. Widowson plays it forward down the left hand side, but it's headed away by Hogan and Coulson. It's not the best clearance forward. It comes off Widowson and down for Whitehead on the right, gets the cross in, and Gaffney makes it 2. And immediately after, Salford double the lead, and within 8 minutes it's Salford made the much better start here at Leyton Orient, and Rory Gaffney makes it double figures for the season. It's Orient 0, Salford 2, and there will be serious questions asked already by Justin Edinburgh as to these balls coming into the area, but for Salford it's a dream start. Play back underway, and Salford again with a throw in on the right hand side. Orient's unable to keep it going, keep the ball in play. A sensational start though for the Ammies. 2-0 up. I don't think even in many wildest dreams we could have imagined it would have been such a good start. Hogan with the throw in, it's headed away by McAnuff and comes down to Liam Nolan, headed away by Orient, but comes down to Whitehead and moved out to the left hand side to Ibu Toure.
Story now gets round his man, which is Brophy, and keeps the ball in play. He's still going, looking to get the crossing from the left. He does whip one in. Epiteta scuffs his clearance, but coming in with Sam Ling just to get it clear upfield and away from any danger. And Salford with the throw on the left hand side. Piergianni, the opening scorer, leaving it off for Ibu Toure. Salford not often with such a good start. Sorry, Piergianni when he opens the scoring. Salford haven't always done so well. So that might be one omen against them, but we're hoping to overturn that certainly this afternoon. And Gaffney doubling the lead will help make sure of that. Orient now head a ball into the middle. Walker keeping the pressure tight on Leyton, wins it back. And Whitehead back to Piergianni. Moved out to the right hand side into Scott Wiseman. Move forward on the right hand side now. Back to Whitehead, up into Green, who's flagged offside. It's gone a little bit too early, trying to bend his run around the back of Widowson. Whitehead keeps the ball in on the right hand side, teeing up a ball down the right hand side, which Green chases. Coulson wraps his foot around and gets it clear. It's like for a Salford throw on the right hand side, bouncing out just by the technical area where Justin Edinburgh is standing outside, or right on the edge of his area, and somewhat wondering what's going on. And lots of hype around the game, and seemingly it's got to Orient in these opening stages. Win the ball back from this throw though, comes down to Gorman. Gorman out to the right hand side to Ling, closed down by Walker. And the loose ball is collected by Piergianni, who sends it back upfield for out of play for a throw into Orient and into the Salford fans. Probably no rush to get it back in, as it'll be doubled in size for him kick-off. Said a few more might start to trickle in, and so it seems to be proving. Well, we've sold out the home allocation. They did actually increase the allocation, taking away some of the away one before making away allocation ticket only, just to stop fans getting into the match. That's how anticipated it was, and to be fair, there aren't many empty seats around in the home end. There's the odd few, but you do suspect that a number of them might be on the way over from West Ham, such as the close proximity of the sides. Brill with a free kick, sends it forward. Ham's header comes off the back of Bon, and it's cleared forward by Salford. Back to Brill on the edge of his area. And the ball into Cromer, challenged by Piergianni. Comes out to Epiteta. We saw a couple of references this week on social media that he's like the non-league Van Dijk. Ball across to Dale Gorman now, space opening up on the right hand side for Orient. Ling into Brophy. Brophy just inside the area, goes down from Piergianni, who caught him, and penalty not given. Salford protesting there. Not too many complaints from Orient. I think that could quite easily be a penalty, unless Brophy is going to be cautioned for diving here. Referee's making his way over to the near touchline, or the touchline nearest to him. He's just going to let play go on. So maybe lucky there. I think penalty is my initial thought, but referee Richard Hume disagreeing. The first big decision he's had to make this afternoon. We're hoping not to make too many more. Orient coming forward again though, that ball down the right hand side. Toure hooks it clear over his head, and Nolan helps it on to Tom Walker. The ball through the middle, and it's played back by Josh Coulson. Back to Dean Brill. Don't often concede more than 2 goals a game, Orient with the joint best defence in the league along with Wrexham. Salford already breached that twice. The joint top scorers in and I think will probably now be the clear top scorers. Potato across to the left hand side to Widowson, into Bon, and Bon back to Coulson, across to Potato. Imagine Salford will be expecting Orient to come and have more of a go as the game goes on. Brophy can't get round Liam Nolan. Torre gives the ball to Gaffney, but it's dispossessed. Now the ball into Corona on the edge of the area, goes down, and the referee says foul, and then there's a shove of Nathan Pond, and players from both sides get involved in the brawl. Josh Coulson diving in on Carl Piergianni there, who's been swamped by players in red shirts. I don't know what's going on in there, but Ibi Torres had to drag away Charlie Lee. And Lee still having a go at Carl Piergianni now, but the referee's going to have a couple of decisions to make here, because it wasn't a particularly bad foul from Liam Hogan. It's more the reaction afterwards that sparked the players, and Josh Coulson certainly coming in, jumping in to that brawl. Interesting to see what happens. Who reacted first? What's Richard Hume going to say? He's taking advice from the linesman on this near side. He's going to give his account of things. Just as we say, that penalty will be the last he hopes to do. That brawl erupts. Now the linesman from the far side's come over. The referee from Richard Hume just taking his time to consult and see what's happened. And I think only him, James Vallance and Mike Desborough know what they're going to do between them. 4 red cards this season in the National League. Interesting to see whether any more awarded now. Remember, when this gets going again, Orient will have a free kick just to the left hand side of the D, and a couple of yards outside the area. The referee now walks back into the middle of the pitch, down towards Charlie Lee. He's got cards in his hands, can't see what colour. Lee was involved in that. McAnuff is having a word with him at the minute. There's a yellow card out, and there's a yellow card to Charlie Lee, and I think to Corona there. Now he's calling Carl Piergianni over to him. And I think it will be the card of the same colour. And it is. And the yellow card for Nathan Pond as well. So the boos can hear around us. It's probably fair, caution everybody, try and let the game go on with 11 players, particularly when it's a game of such big proportions. You know, once we played in the right manner, I think you can just see both sides how much this game does mean to them. So now we will shortly have this free kick. And Joby McAnuff standing over it, as is Lee, who's just booked a minute ago. Salford with a 4-man solid wall and 3 players on the periphery. But Orient with this free kick, just shy of 20 minutes. McAnuff with his right foot straight into the wall, comes back to McAnuff, and a shot's charged down, but Lee plays the ball back into the middle, headed away by Hogan, and Whitehead's bringing it down for Walker, who slams it clear down the left hand side, and danger averted for the Ammies. Now I think both sides will just take a minute to try and cool things down. Orient will certainly try to keep the pressure on, so they look to get back into this game, trailing 2-0. Remember those 2 goals in the opening 10 minutes from Piergianni and Rory Gaffney. As Hogan heads the long ball clear, headed back forward by Gorman, away by Salford, back down to Gorman, and Gorman down the right hand side to Ling. Just about kept in on the far side, played up into Brophy, and Brophy across to Lee. Lee onto Widowson. Space on the left hand side for Orient, and it's the veteran McAnuff on the ball at the minute, looking up into the area. He's got space, and he plays the ball into Macaulay Bon, being shepherded away from goal at the minute, and Bon's ball out to the left hand side comes off the referee and is left to run by Danny Whitehead for a throw into Salford on the right hand side. Hogan with the throw on the right hand side. Bounces over McAnuff and Green and into Gaffney. Gaffney trying to stab it back to Whitehead. It's picked up by Lee. Lee the ball down the left for Orient. It's away by Hogan. Comes down in the middle to Dale Gorman. Headed forward. Away by Hogan again. Lee heads it forward and Nolan this time heads it clear for Salford, and it's knocked on by Walker. Down to Green. Back to Gaffney on the halfway line now. Moving out to the right hand side. It's Scott Wiseman on the ball at the minute. Seen the run of Green down the right hand side. Trying to hold off Coulson. Just holds the ball up as Coulson swings a boot, but it's down in Matt Green's possession. It's got Whitehead for support, ties on the touchline, and Whitehead back to Wiseman. Ball moving in field. Wiseman returns it to him. Whitehead looking for Green down the touchline, but it's read and cleared by Orient. But Hogan's there again to head it away. It comes down now to Brophy. And Brophy moving right to left hand side for feeding in Joby McAnuff, going on a run down the line, but McAnuff brings it in field and sees Sam Ling on the far hand side, picks out the former Orient youngster, and the ball's now played back to Gorman, back down to Ling in field. Brophy moving away from Piergianni, back to Leyton. Now Brophy again on the right hand side, taking on Torre, who slides and gets a good foot in as Leyton puts a cross in, but far too much on that one. South over behind for a goal kick to Salford City. And Chris Neal taking the ball over to the left hand side. Placing the ball down, just trying to slow the game down a bit and diffuse the tension that was building. Just going back to it, I think it's a very good call from Richard Hume, referee who's not had too much success in Salford terms. Lost at Sutton, drew at Eastleigh. He actually sent a Sutton player off against Salford at Gander Green Lane all the way back in August now. Head tennis in the middle and Orient come away with the ball, but Nolan intercepts and sends it down the left hand side. Epiteta happy just to marshal that one out for a goal kick to Leyton Orient, trailing 2-0 here at the Breyer Group Stadium. I wonder if the people on the balconies are enjoying the afternoon so far. On the far side, it actually looks like someone's got an Orient flag draped over the balcony. I suppose it's fans green, isn't it? So live right next to the ground of the club you support. Nolan hands the ball forward towards Green, but it's intercepted by Widowson. His afro making him quite a distinguishable player, and the ball goes back to Dean Brill. Out to the right hand side to Sam Ling. Infield now into Leyton. Switch balls, cut out by Whitehead, and Salford got a break on here. Whitehead down the line into Green, now into the area on the right hand side, tries to go for the shot and wants a corner. That has just gone straight behind out for a goal kick to Leyton Orient. And just the adrenaline getting to Green there. He had Gaffney up alongside him, but he's been closely marked by Epiteta, so even if he had pulled it across, there's no guarantee Gaffney would have got to that one. Whitehead alert as ever to get onto that. 2 assists was named this afternoon. He was really starting the year in great form. Absolutely standout man of the match for me on New Year's Day against Wrexham. I think he likes playing in this midfield three because he's got the support of Nolan to cover him. And supposing Tom Walker's got someone who will get forward, but will also do the defensive cover work to help if needs, whereas in the two, so it's more down to him to help do the defensive work. So lets him get forward a bit more. And the advantages of this 3-5-2 that Graham Alexander's playing at the minute. As Hogan goes long with the throws, headed away by Charlie Lee. It's also his birthday today, alongside Nathan Bond. Both of them with a yellow card as a present from the referee. Whitehead brings the ball down on the right hand side. Nice footwork to get inside of Coroma, but Lee sweeps and clears up. Hogan clears away. And Bond can't bring the ball under control with his head. And he goes out for another throw to Salford on the right hand side. Still 2-0 up as we approach the halfway mark of this first period here at the Breyer Group Stadium. Hogan with the throw down the line. Green backing into Widdowson here in his green boots, but he plays the ball down for Gaffney on the right hand side, stops the ball to get it away from Coulson, and a looping run takes him away from McAnuff before a Croy turn takes him back down the line, whips across in, Walker coming in, it's away by Ling, who's gone down, clutching his head there. The referee's given the free kick. It's quite an innocent battle between those two. Well, the free kick goes Orient's way anyway, and Brill will take it just inside his 6-yard area. Ling straight back to his feet. And there's a question how genuine his head injury was there. Brill. Ball down the left hand side. Nolan gets his head to it, but it comes down to Dayton. Nolan gets there again though. From Dayton's ball forwards. Lifts it forward for Green to chase, but Brill on the edge of his area comes out to collect and rolls the ball out to Ling. 22-year-olds coming forward now. Actually left Orient for Dagenham before returning early in 2018. Piergianni cuts out the ball down the right hand side, comes down to Orient though. Nolan coming out, gets the ball away from Dayton and down into Gaffney. Whitehead striding forward on the right hand side. Gaffney's running down the closing channel, but it's still going tight on the touchline, taking on Piqueta, who's out in position at the moment. The ball back to Torre, now into Walker, trying to run rings around Dale Gorman. Back to Walker, across to Whitehead, and Whitehead now back to Liam Hogan. Hogan with the ball down the right hand side. Green batting with Coulson, does not the ball on, but down into the area into Brill, and Brill rolls it out to the right hand side, back into Ling again. Orient seem to favour this right hand side. It's Ling into Brophy. Brophy one more into Josh Koroma's, moving right to left. Now brings Widdowson into the game. Field into Koroma again. Shifting outside of Nolan, down the left hand side into Widdowson. Cross into the area, is blocked by Wiseman on the edge of the area. Comes back down to the left back and now into Koroma. Can drop into midfield from his forward position and moves on to his right hand side and whips in a good shot. It was on target, but Chris Neal well positioned to gather that one and make the save, so still 2-0 on his first shot on target, taking him 27 minutes to produce. Not a bad effort from Koroma though. Orient come forward again. There's Dayton through, looking for Bon on the edge of the area. Just crowded out by blue shirts. Piergianni and Torre both over there on the league's joint top scorer. And there's Red Carson's left hand arm. That's along the same sort of lines as Jamie Vardy's lucky charm. And former Salford player Michael Nottingham told me once that footballers can use it as a way to remind you to play well. It was a good luck charm, the superstitious lots that they are. As Walker comes on the left hand side, trying to get round Dayton. Dayton holding Walker off, and Walker committing the foul as Dayton goes to ground, close to the touchline on the right hand side for Orient. We'll have the free kick. Brill, all in yellow this afternoon. Really want to take. He had an interesting start to life at Orient. Came as a goalkeeper coach when Justin Edinburgh took over. Actually made him the number 1 last season. The 33-year-old. And he's retained that jersey ever since. Trying to urge some urgency into his side. As Widdowson retreats to collect a loose ball, drives forward for playing a loose ball into the middle. He's looking for Koroma, but Koroma wasn't quite on the same page. As Tom Walker sends the ball down the left for Salford. Gaffney chases it down. Potatoes under pressure here, but he wins a goal kick off. Closing down Gaffney. And Orient with another goal kick. Still 2-0. And Salford managing this match rather well. Not giving Orient too much in terms of chances, although Orient probably having the better of the possession as we approach the half-hour mark. Salford fans still in voice on the far side of the ground from where we are, as that Potato misses the dropping ball, comes down to Ling to clear forward, and Koroma wrestled to the ground by Liam Hogan. Stays down on the ground. And the referee now will come over and check Koroma's okay. The referee calls a physio on. Been very dominant since coming back into the side, Liam Hogan, club captain. And I said it against Wrexham, and it's been similar this afternoon. He's not really lost much or missed much. Hasn't made the most appearances this season for Salford. The captain, albeit mainly off the bench. He's only missed one game, and that was a home game against Ebbsfleet United in the league. Orient fans with calls of "you don't know what you're doing" as Josh Koroma swings his fist in the air after the referee takes no further action for that foul. And play will restart, I imagine, with a drop ball for Chris Neal. The Orient fans, there might be a number. Koroma being put back onto the pitch by the fourth official. Justin Edinburgh down there as well, outside his technical area. Chris Lucchetti not too far off him in his hands in his pockets and his blue Vanarama jacket, keeping a close ear on what Edinburgh is saying. Ball back underway now. Bod just passes the ball back to Chris Neal, who picks up in his area and bounces it a couple of times. Sending it along down the middle. Green underneath that one, flicks it on, comes down to Sam Ling though, and the right back slams his ball forward down the right of centre. Piergianni heads away, comes down to James Brophy. The 24-year-old switching play over to the left hand side into Widowson. Going from quite a serious, let's not tell a lie, Widowson switching the ball all the way back to Dean Brill. It's not gone down too well with the Orient fans around us here. Let's move back out to the right hand side to Ling, coming forward on the right into Brophy. Brophy now with a looping run, moving back in field. Salford setting back a bit further. Widowson comes forward, Mackinoff into Koroma, marshalled off by Nolan and Whitehead. The ball comes to Gaffney in the middle before going back to Chris Neal, all in green this afternoon. And a curling ball out to the right hand side, headed in field by Joe Widowson. Potato plays the ball forward. Hogan again gets in front of Bond, heads it away, comes down in the middle into Dayton, and now Lee into Koroma, and with Piergianni behind him and Nolan coming in, loses possession. Neal with a clearance out onto the right hand side. Goes for a throw in to Orient. Lee, it's a wet potato. Orient fans come out with a chance of come on Orient, try and get the side going. Trailing 2-0 with just over 10 minutes to go till half time. Widowson, Lee, I think he'll say that he left that one for Coulson, but it was a poor touch in reality. Potato over the halfway line now, switching play down the left hand side. Macaulay Bonn saying that should have gone into Mackinoff, and Mackinoff agree with him. Potato only 22, still learning the game really. He's signing in January from East Thurrock United. Here's another player who's been linked with a move on to bigger and better things. You don't have to say these players linked away. Orient are seemingly a club back on the up, having dropped into the National League a couple of years ago, so realistically, why would you want to leave? There's Ling, the ball down the right hand side into Brophy. Now ball down the middle, looking for Koroma, swept up and cleared away by Hogan, but Gaffney wins it back in the middle as it's played back. Green, moving from centre down the right hand side, he's got 3 red shirts in pursuit, and Mackinoff is opposite number 7. Does win the ball and goes down under a challenge, wins a free kick which he takes quickly himself, one to with Koroma, squared in field now into Dayton. Leyton into Caroma, trying to turn, moving down the left hand side. Nolan coming across, and Wiseman just making sure the ball goes out for the Orient throw on the left hand side, and it's within range for Charlie Lee, who now comes up. Central midfielder on the left hand side. Look again to hit the 6-yard box with this throw. Looping trajectory, it's headed away by Wiseman. And out for another throw to the O's. Can just get it flatter earlier in the game on the other side. It's a bit more effective than that one. But he's got another go here. Plenty of red shirts in the area as Lee again comes in. Hogan rises and heads clear. Comes out to McAnuff on the corner of the box. Down into Lee. Back to McAnuff, but Green comes in and wins the ball, and Gaffney gets away from McAnuff. Ball picking out Whitehead, moves inside well of Ling, and now releases Toure down the left hand side. Brophy gets across though. Good tracking back from the winger, plays the ball back to Brill, who's closed down by Tom Walker. And Walker manages to keep his footing before tumbling into one of the photographers behind that goal. Brill takes the goal kick quickly, out to the left hand side into Coulson, now at Pateta. Out to the right hand side, Orient looking to launch another attack here. And Brophy, forward he comes. Leyton, back to Coulson in the centre circle, switch out to the left hand side to Widowson, high up on the left hand side, into McAnuff. McAnuff, limited with options, let's go back to Lee, and across now to Pateta. Setter onto the right hand side again to Brophy, who swings the cross in. Piergianni heads away down to Toure on the left hand side to the area, who takes it on the volley, plays it upfield. Lee leaves it to bounce, and Coulson heads forward, away by Hogan down the right hand side, and Green chasing Coulson down, who opts to pass the ball back to Brill, top of his area, to the other centre back, Pateta. Former Oxford United youngster takes a few steps forward, passes the ball into Ling, now infield into Brophy. Brophy moving infield, plays the ball into McAnuff. McAnuff with a shot from the edge of the area, it's saved, parried away by Neil, and Carl Piergianni gets the ball further clear up into Green, brings it down for Nolan. Now Salford look to break. Gaffney through the middle, it's a high ball, and Brill right on the corner of his area comes and makes the save there before Whitehead can nip in. There's another bite at the cherry for Leyton Orient. There's Dayton shoots, it's blocked by Pons, handed away by Piergianni, comes down to, sorry, it's Brophy with the shots. Dayton plays the ball out to Ling, his cross is cleared away by Salford. Orient with possession on the left, Caroma through the legs of Wiseman, Widowson on the overlap, coming down now into the area, crosses blocked by Hogan on the 6-yard area, moving out to the right hand side, a few optimistic claims of handball. Well, Hogan gets it clear away, back up to Brill. Now his couple of chances have given the Orient fans something else to cheer about and try and encourage the side on. Hogan with a shove in the back on Caroma, and another free kick for the O's. Time on the left hand side, it's quite away from goal. It's a good opportunity to try and drop across into the box, but it's taken quickly. McAnuff down the left hand side for Caroma. Caroma with the cross is blocked out, or gone straight out, says Richard Hume, and it will be a goal kick for Salford. Orient fan behind the goal there, quite a powerful throw back into Chris Neal. Listening to certain BBC podcast with Peter Crouch on the way down, trying to catch up on those, and he was talking about goalkeepers and telling the story about Rob Green, who was getting bombarded for nearly 40 minutes by a fan just calling out his name, where he eventually gave in when he saw it in the rounds. All I had to say is, you're something too explicit to say on our radio. No doubt Chris Neal will be getting his fair share of taunts behind that goal. His side are in the upper position as Green Heads ball to Whitehead, now into Gaffney, takes it first time from just inside the area and curls the shot over the bar and into the stand away to our right hand side. He probably had time to take another touch there, Rory Gaffney. He'll just let the momentum get to him. Would have been the hat-trick of assists for Danny Whitehead had that found the back of the net. Orient sent another long ball forward, headed away by Pond, comes down to Brophy, but turns immediately into Walker. Nolan off balance, he actually finds a good pass to Tory on the left hand side. Sends the ball down for Green to chase, and Green's got the right side of Epiteta here. He's got Gaffney arriving in the middle, plays the ball back to Toure now though. And Toure, Orient's got a high line here, making it hard for Toure to get the cross in. It's been forced away from Brophy by the minute. Piergianni, the diagonal ball into the area. Whitehead does flick it on behind him. No blue strikers following in. Comes down to Dean Brill. Now it's rolled out to McAnuff. About 5 minutes to go in this first half. Still Leyton Orient 0, Salford City 2. Here at the Breyer Group Stadium. McAnuff to Widdowson. Bon back to Widdowson. Comes forward on the left hand side again, the full-back. Wiseman and Whitehead both tracking him. Ball comes back to Cromer, into Bon, return to Cromer on the edge of the area, tries to place the shot into the bottom right hand corner. Too much on that one, and it bounces wide of Neil's left hand post. Still Orient creating more recent chances, but Salford will feel they aren't in too much rush, leading 2-0 as Neil with the ball down the middle, headed away by the 6'4" figure of Epiteta, down into Bon, now out to McAnuff. McAnuff moving in field and looking up to the right hand side, picks out Brophy. Brophy gets round Walker and Toure, still going on the run, the winger. Toure getting back in position, Walker coming across to help, and he does enough to tee the ball up for Toure to clear down the middle for Salford as Coulson pushes the ball down into the path of Epiteta, who started that move off. Now the ball up into Brophy. Dayton across to Lee, former Stevenage midfielder, plenty of experience in winning promotions. He's won a number in his career. He'll be hoping to do the same for Orient. Squares the ball into McAnuff. A player with plenty of experience. Coulson into Dayton, looking for the diagonal for Widdowson. Widdowson not really favourite to get there ahead of Hogan or anyone else. Wasn't a very popular choice in the starting lineup actually. Looking through some of the comments on Orient's Twitter feed, I think they were hoping that someone else like Lawless might have been in the middle. It'd be interesting to see if Justin Edinburgh bows to those demands of the fans. There's Neil with the goal kick. It's down the middle, it's flicked on by Dayton, back to Ling, headed forwards. Nolan has really grown into that centre midfield role. Obviously it's where he is a natural player, he's not really had much chance since joining on loan from Mackie Stanley. Plays the ball over the top. The referee's going to stop play here because there's a head injury down in the middle to an Orient player. Nolan is here for another couple of weeks unless his loan gets extended further. Obviously with the injuries to Mark Shelton, Lewis Maynard, Gus Mafuta also in suspension, who sort of had his future determined or had his place determined, but he's really stepped up to it. The League 2 promotion winner last season. In the last couple of games he has rather thrived. Gorman's back on his feet and moves over to the far touchline with the physio. Referee will do the drop ball now to get play back underway. About 90 seconds left plus any added time in this first half. Darkness starting to set in East London too. I suspect there might be a few minutes of added time due to the stoppages we've had. I think it was a good 3 minutes for the fracas. And the players were all carded. It's not quite a full strength ball from Ekpiteta, and Pons heads the ball down to Piergianni instead of letting that one run through to Chris Neal. And Salford win a throw on the left hand side, which the ball boy rolls in front of Ibu Toure. That's the last minute of normal time in this first half. And Toure with the throw. Infield into Walker, who trips on the ball there, and Dayton nips in, moving down the right hand side, plays the ball down for Karoma. He's dragged Nathan Pond out with him. Pond trying to stand strong against the 20-year-olds at the minute, and Walker coming back. Just get a touch on that one to clear it out for an Orient throw. Karoma takes it quickly, back to Brophy, moves outside of Walker and down the line now into the area, taking on Toure. It's a good run this from the winger, and he wins a corner for his troubles. And the linesman's actually given a goal kick here, much to the disapproval of the Orient fans away to the left hand side. Nathan Pond's also gone down in the 6 yard area, trying to stretch out with goalkeeper Chris Neal. I think sympathised there with the Orient fans. 3 minutes added on. That's not too generous, I have to say. Could have been a lot more. Salford with the goal kick into the 3 minutes added time. I'm hoping at half time I'm going to speak to non-league paper writer Matt Badcock. I was having a chat with him before the match, and he did say he will come. I'll reflect with him on the first half. 3 minutes to go till then. Mackinoff, almost central in the closing stages, plays the ball out to Widowson. Bon, down to Karoma, finds the ball through to Mackinoff. Walker comes across and takes it off Mackinoff though, and Whitehead clears it out down the right hand side. Edinburgh throws the ball a further 10 yards up for Widowson, who only throws the ball back anyway to Coulson. And Coulson squares the ball across for Ekpiteta, trying to encourage him to move forward. Now the ball down the right hand side into Ling. Ling back to Dayton. A couple of boos around for James Dayton. Now the ball into Mackinoff. Out to the right hand side again to Ling. Roger slowly making the way forwards. Ling's found Brophy down the right hand channel. Piergianni's come across, and the linesman gets a few ironic jeers, including a clap in the face actually from James Brophy, as he gives the throw in, and Sam Ling's going to try and fling this one into the area from the right hand side. It's quite close to the touchline. He's having a hefty run up here as well. In comes the ball direct towards the near post, away by Piergianni, down to Green, and uses his back heel to stab that one out to Gaffney on the left hand side. He thumps the ball upfield, and again it bounces off the roof of that stand on the far side from us. I think it's the east stand. There will be a throw in for Leyton Orient on the halfway line actually, and Brill having to kick the ball all the way back up. The throw comes from Ling, flicked on by Bon into Karoma. Brophy making the overlapping run. Piergianni stays on his feet as Karoma. Brophy takes that one out, and it comes off Piergianni off the corner to Leyton Orient. I'm sure if they've done the homework, they'll know that Salford can be susceptible to set pieces. And we'll see if they can pull one back before half time here at the Breyer Group Stadium. I think it's Mackinoff who's over on the right hand side to take this one. Floated in into the middle, it's headed away by Hogan. Kept alive though, headed on, and Neal, there's a block on the line somewhere, and Salford clear it out to the left hand side. Orient's left hand side for a throw in. There's a block there on the line as the shot came in, and Charlie Lee with the throw in on the left hand side for Orient, looking to exert some late pressure. In comes the throw, headed up behind by Wiseman at the near post, and the referee blows a whistle for half time before the corner can be taken, bringing an entertaining first half to a close here at the Breyer Group Stadium. It's Leyton Orient 0, Salford City 2. Those goals coming in the opening 10 minutes from Carl Piergianni and Rory Gaffney. An absolutely dream start for the Ammies. Both headers as well, interestingly. Piergianni's from a Danny Whitehead corner on the right hand side, which was an interesting corner. It's heading for a throw in, bounced off the corner flag and actually went for a corner. But great delivery in, and Piergianni coming in around the back stooping in and heads that one in past Dean Brill. And just 3 minutes later, while Salford is still fresh from celebrating that first goal, Whitehead delivered another ball in, this time on a break forwards, and it was Rory Gaffney arriving at the back post to stoop and head that one past Dean Brill to make it 2-0. But Orient, they have had a penalty shout in the 13th minute. James Brophy challenged by Carl Piergianni. The referee gave nothing, and he's actually getting around the boos as he makes his way down the steps from the dressing rooms here in the main stands at Leyton Orient. And then a couple of minutes later, Liam Hogan with a foul kicks off a bit of a brawl between a number of players, which saw Nathan Pond, Carl Piergianni, I think it was Josh Karoma and Charlie Lee all awarded yellow cards for their part in it. And then really it's Orient who've had the chances, but they haven't been too testing for Chris Neal. There was a late block on the line, and also save low down to the left hand side from Joby Mackinoff. But I think the message from Justin Edinburgh at half time will be, you want to see just a bit more cutting edge from the sides. You know, for Macaulay Bonn and Josh Karoma, got a good number of goals between them, and I think they'll be disappointed not to have tested Chris Neal as much as they could have done. But Orient have scored more goals in the second half, and I think Salford can expect them to come out, and particularly the pressure from the Orient fans, give more of a showing of themselves in the second period. Just have a look at the games elsewhere. In fact, no, we'll come to Matt Badcock first. Matt, thanks for joining us. What a first half that was. I think we've got to say 2 goals in the opening 10 minutes. Many would have expected that, I don't think.
Yeah, you sort of always get the hype of these games, and then what a first half that's been. Unbelievable start from Salford. You know, Piergianni's got in front of his man, headed it in, but then Whitehead's cross off for the second was just beautiful, wasn't it? And you could just see what was going to happen, and Rory Gaffney's put it in, and I think that sent some travelling supporters pretty happy, didn't it? But
and a few players and fans as well.
It's just been a really good half, and everything you sort of want from these sort of games. It's got a bit of bite in the challenges, and you know, it's just really enjoying it.
The referees had a couple of decisions to make. Firstly, the penalty shouts, and then secondly, the bit of a brawl. How did you see those two?
Yeah, I wasn't completely convinced that it was would have been a penalty. I would have been surprised if he'd given that. And then there was a bit of a flare up, wasn't there, on the edge of the box after a challenge and everyone piling in. And then when things like that happen, you sort of do, and the referees consulting with his assistants, you sort of do wonder what could happen there. And if a red card had come out, I wouldn't have been completely surprised for either, because there's a lot of pushing and shoving and hands up in faces and things like that. But I suppose we all want everyone on the pitch still, don't we? But it was it could have been a big moment.
Now, what way would you say this is a game big for? So it's big for Salford to keep themselves in the race, or Orient to try and extend the leads, because you can expect Orient to come out to try and defend, you know, their gap at the top, but Salford have got all the momentum with them this afternoon, it seems.
Yeah, that's gone. If Orient were going to try and sit in and get a point, which I don't think either team would do. And we haven't seen Orient quite a bit this year. They're not that sort of side who are going to try and do that, especially in front of a packed house. But those opening 2 goals so quickly like that does completely change everything. I think they've changed their shape a little bit as well, because I think Graham Alexander's got everything absolutely spot on with the way Salford are set up.
It's first versus third, remember, lots at stake between these in this game. Salford can reduce the gap, and at the moment have it reduced to 2 points. Orient, if they can turn this around, could go 8 clear of the Ammies. Well, we're just about ready to go. The referee checking with both keepers in the centre of some decisions in the first half. Danny Whitehead, all in blue in the centre circle, ready to kick Salford off right to left in this second half. It's Orient versus Salford, and we are underway. Whitehead back to Nolan. We'll go through the teams when we get a chance to. I think the first chance will be now. And we'll start with Salford, shall we? No changes from New Year's Day and no changes at the break, so it's the same 5-3-2 or 3-5-2 formation as beat Wrexham 2-0. Chris Neal in goal. Liam Hogan, Nathan Pont and Carl Piergianni, 3 centre-backs, with Wiseman and Torre the full-backs. Liam Nolan, Tom Walker and Danny Whitehead In the midfield three, with Rory Gaffney and Matt Green up top. On the bench, Adam Rooney, Danny Lloyd, Max Crocombe, Manny Desirue and Devante Rodney. Orient on the ball at the moment, and James Brophy, right winger, plays the ball back into Josh Coulson and across to Joe Widdowson. Now Joby McAnuff, the captain, across to Ekpiteta, looking up to the right hand side. It's well behind Sam Ling. It'll be a throw for Salford on the left hand side. So that Orient lineup in full. There's a 4-4-2 from Justin Edinburgh. It's a formation that he has always used here at Orient. Dean Brill in goal, Sam Ling right back, Marvin Ekpiteta and Josh Coulson in the middle, with Joe Widdowson the left back, Joby McAnuff on one wing. In the middle is Dale Gorman and Charlie Lee, with James Brophy on the other, and up top is Karoma and Borden. Here is Karoma, it's a great save by Neil, comes out and blocks the chance for gathering the rebound. Have to be alert there, Ammies stopper. Karoma fed through on the left hand side to the area. Neil out quickly, makes the block, and he does well to catch the return ball as well. He can score it 2-0 to Salford. And just to finish off, it's Sam Sargent, Alex Lawless, Jordan Maguire, Drew, Dan Happ and Matt Howard on the bench for Orient. And here's McAnuff now in the centre circle. Moving out to the left hand side, right was too obvious, and bringing Widdowson back into the game. Over on the left hand side, having a go at Wiseman, and Whitehead's there in support. Widdowson now plays the ball back to Lee on a yellow card. Ekpiteta now over to Ling, down in front of us. High position here at Orient in the gantry, and Brophy trying to create space for the cross on the right hand side. Tackled by Walker, it recovers, and still moving back now. Brophy's had a lot of possession there, switching the ball across towards Widdowson, who just gets there ahead of Danny Whitehead and Coulson. Now across to Ekpiteta, down the right hand side, Ling coming forward, plays the ball into Brophy. Heavy touch though, wasn't expecting that one. Salford win it back, played the way out of trouble with Torre, curls the ball up to Green on the halfway line, but he's put off by Ekpiteta, and now Lee through to Bon with a shifted ball out to the right hand side. Ling is far too high up the field for Bon there, and it's out for a Salford throw on the left hand side. Here's Whitehead trying to play a ball through for Matt Green. It's blocked by red shirts, and Ling now with the clearance up into the Orient captain Joby McAnuff, former championship promotee, spent a season in the Premier League with Reading. He's played a majority of his career, had a spell away from Reading here at Orient, and returned in 2017. He's getting on a bit, but he's still playing. Widdowson out to McAnuff on the left hand side now. He's covered a fair amount of ground this afternoon as well. Moving from out wide into the middle, out wide again. Hogan clears his ball through the middle, out for an Orient throw on the left, which Widdowson takes short before Lee can get across for the long throw. Comes back to Widdowson, now back to Lee, central midfielder, bring the ball back for Coulson. Only ever been at Cambridge United before moving to Orient. Coulson. Here's Brophy. Switching play out to the left hand side to Widdowson. I think cries have come on Salford. Coming from the stand on the far side from us. Got a couple of hundred Salford fans in there. Ling on the right into Brophy. Brophy moving into the middle across the top of the area. Finds a way through to take shot on goal, but it's watched all the way by Chris Neal, and the Salford stopper makes the save. $251 is the number from Salford. The total attendance 6,937 this afternoon. So a high attendance in the National League. I think some Leyton Orient fans might be thinking they probably could have filled it out a bit more, but the allocation is what it is for security reasons. So there's not too much more they can do about that one, but 250, it's still a great showing. A lot of people do criticise the following from Salford, given that we averaged 125 seasons ago at home, to be taking 250 away, particularly just after Christmas, isn't a bad representation on Zagi. So well done, and thank you to all those who have travelled. There's Tory on the left hand side trying to get forward for the Ammies. It's blocked by Brophy. This ball goes back into the middle, it's cleared up into Bon, and Bon finds a nice ball into Dayton, driving forward, moves out to the right hand side, cuts across Bon's path, still going with it, and now switches play over to the left. Widowson has got space of attack for Orient. Short ball in field into McAnuff, and McAnuff back out down the left hand side to Kurova, looking to cut in. He's tackled by Whitehead. The ball comes back to McAnuff. McAnuff across to Epiteta, moving out to the right hand side. Ball down the line into Ling. Ling back to Epiteta, the two youngsters in the side. Now squared across again. It's nearly too short for Widowson. But the left back gets in inside. Plays the ball back to Coulson. Now Epiteta again. Then down the line into Ling. Orient enjoying some good possession in the second half, but not doing too much with it. It's a nice return from Brophy to Bon. Then Dayton runs into trouble, but Bon wins it back, finds Brophy, shoots from the edge of the area. It's closed down by Nathan Pons, headed back in by Bon, away by Hogan, down to Ling on the right hand corner of the area. Ball in field to find Dayton, a sliding challenge on Tom Walker. The referee tried to play advantage, but the referee's pulled it back for the free kick. As Gaffney looked to boot that ball clear at field, Walker looks in some pain down on the sides of the area. The referee is now going to call back James Dayton, and the boos coming from the Orient ends. And a yellow card as well for Dayton. It's a late challenge on Walker, who makes his way back to his feet now. Sorry, Gorman, not Dayton. So every time I've said Dayton, I didn't mean Dale Gorman. I apologise. Neil now with a free kick for Salford. 2-0 up for anyone recently joining us in the second half. We played just under 10 minutes. Neil goes long, looking for Green, headed away by Epiteta. Forward now into Bon. Kept relatively quiet this afternoon, the league's joint top scorer. There's Gorman moving out to the right hand side. Walker gets a good foot in and gets the ball away. Those two barge into each other as Ling takes the throw back to Epiteta, and now into Lee. Lee across into Coulson coming forward. Everyone in the Salford half for Orient, apart from Dean Brill, the keeper. Karoma squares the ball across for McAnuff, who takes the shot. It's blocked, I think, by Bon. Comes back to McAnuff, but his ball through is cleared away by Scott Wiseman. And back to Josh Coulson on the halfway line. Orient look to launch another foray forward. Epiteta into Ling. Now Brophy. Looping runs, moving back in field now. Switching play out to the left hand side to Widowson. Lets the ball come down to him. Looking up as he moves slowly towards the area, nudges the ball out to Karoma. McAnuff with an ambitious shot to the far post. Was it Karoma, sorry. Saved by Chris Neal. Giving the benefit of the doubt that that one was on target. And Neal comes to the edge of his area and bounces the ball a couple of times. Brophy. There's the ball on the right for Orient. Green coming across to try and win possession off Epiteta. Squares it across to Widowson. And Widowson now coming forward on the left hand side, up into McAnuff, back off to the left back. And now into Lee. Lee across to Epiteta. Looks like Charlie Lee's playing a bit deeper and Epiteta's coming to join him as Orient try and push forward. Ling's a right winger. Playing a 1-2 with Gorman now for finding Epiteta, driving in field. Green comes across, makes a block, but the ball comes down to Bon. Bon trying to get the ball out of danger. Now Gorman with a shot from well outside the area, well over the post as well. And out for a goal kick to Salford. A bit of frustration behind that shot from Dale Gorman. He's signed in the summer despite breaking an ankle in April. He recovered from that one. Signed the contract in July. Here's Chris Neal with the goal kick. Down the left hand side, headed away by Gorman. Back forward by Salford. Down into Matt Green. Green trying to get round Epiteta, who goes to ground, but the referee says no doing. Now Orient come forward. Piergianni comes through the back of Corona. Oh, the belated decision there. Piergianni's got to be careful. He is on a yellow card. Referee checking Corona's okay. So there won't be any more else for it from the Salford point of view. Definitely a free kick for Leyton Orient though. Joby McAnuff, I think, asking for more from the referee before taking the free kick quickly. Down into Brophy. Lings on the overlap and Brophy plays it down, but Torre clears the ball out and it's out for a throw-in to Orient, high up on the right hand side. That ball's gone between the apartment block and the main stand here. Something out in the penthouse even on the top floor. Way to the right hand side. One of the best views in the house. As Sam Ling with a shorter run up on this near side, lines up a long throw. He's going to curve his run. And then it comes into the 6 yard area. Pond rises, heads it away, and Gaffney flicks the clearance on. Brophy back to Widowson, and now McAnuff turning to face goal, moving to the left hand side. Flicks out, I think, Koroma. Going wider in the second half than he started in the first, as McAnuff finds the ball through to Widowson, and Widowson pulls it back towards Bon, a diving header away by Walker, but it's back with Gorman. Now Koroma again on the left hand side, charging at the box this time. Whitehead on the edge, standing him outside. Koroma wraps his foot around the pass to McAnuff, and McAnuff one more onto Epiteta. Epiteta is dispossessed by Walker, but Coulson's there to send it back forward. Orient playing with Coulson as an anchor, and nearly everyone else is forward for them. Here's Koroma again on the left hand side, into the top of the area. Gorman looking back in field, squares across for McAnuff, and McAnuff urged to shoot, finds some space on his left. Green with a crunching challenge, well timed. 2-7's on the floor and it's cleared by Salford. But it's Coulson holding. He's got Epiteta and Lee playing just in front of him in a diamond, and it just gets wider from there up the pitch for Orient. Got Sam Ling on the right wing, Widowson on the left, McAnuff and Gorman in the middle, with Bon, Brophy and Koroma almost like a forward three. Here comes Koroma on the left hand side. Gets him back down the line. Gets the ball, now charging into the area. He's got the goal side of Hogan, but Hogan with a well-timed sliding challenge blocks the clearance, and Wiseman's clearance only comes down to Widowson. Back now to McAnuff, through into Gorman. Gorman back to McAnuff, has to go wider than he wanted. Trying to nudge the ball onto his right. He's going to take on Wiseman and gets through Danny Whitehead, but Whitehead eventually spins out with the ball for Salford and clears it back up to Josh Coulson. An intense period of pressure this for Leyton Orient coming forward as we approach the hour mark. It's probably been a good 5 minutes in the Salford final third. And Ling back off to Epiteta, down the line on the right hand side into Brophy. Brophy has got Torre and Walker to get through, finds a pass into Bon. Bon off to Epiteta, and now in the middle again to Lee. Gorman, Bon, Lee takes over, nudges the ball out to the right. Ling puts the ball over at the back post. Koroma's there, he stops possession, pulls it back. McAnuff shoots low, and it's gathered by Chris Neal. All that pressure, and when the shot eventually did come, McAnuff couldn't quite steer it into the post. It was down at Neal, and there are a lot of bodies in the way, but a good save by the Salford stopper. But certainly encouraging Orient forward. Now Now Salford need to find a way to get a foot back into this game. Justin Edinburgh's got 2 changes ready to come on as Matt Green's fouled, and Salford have a free kick in the Orient half. One of those is Alex Lawless, the other one is new signing Jordan Maguire-Drew. Signed this week from Brighton Hove Albion. He's been on loan at Wrexham for the first half of the season. Here's Walker with the free kick for Salford, looking long into the box. He swings the ball in. Hogan looked like he had his path to goal blocked, and the ball now bounces down from McAnuff, racing away on the left hand side. Whitehead's across to mark that one, but McAnuff still coming with the ball into the middle. Risky ball across to Gorman, who blocks off Tom Walker there as he was coming forward. And Gorman also on a yellow card. The referee's not going to give anything further, but it's a silly one from Dale Gorman. He doesn't have to do that, he's got 4 defenders covering. But Salford with a free kick in the centre circle, and I'm sure that'll be a final talking to. And Justin Edinburgh is now ready to make these 2 changes for Leyton Orient. Well, he is a final talking to for Dale Gorman, the referee. Richard Hume taking his time with this chat. Sends him on his way. And he's acknowledged the subs ready to come on. First one, Lawless, coming on for Gorman. And that actually receives a warm round of applause. And the other change is Charlie Lee coming off and Maguire-Drew coming on. So what I imagine that'll do, McAnuff will move into the middle, and Jordan Maguire-Drew on his debut gets a warm welcome onto the field, and I imagine we'll move out wide. Here's Nolan with the free kick in the centre circle for Salford, leading 2-0 still, with just under half an hour to play here at the Breyer Group Stadium. Piergianni plays the ball down the left for Torre, who takes it well and gets inside of Sam Ling, and now outside again, gets a cross, slams high into the roof of the stand and bounces down into the crowd. Whoever was watching had an eye on that one, because that would have been some knock to the head had that caught them. Unfortunately not the first time that Ibi Touré's been found guilty of overhitting a cross, but for the amount of assist that he does get, I don't think he can complain too much when the odd one goes awry. Hogan, header finds Gaffney, who's headed through for Green to chase. Coulson gets it back to Brill, he stayed down. Don't know if he's landed awkwardly there, Josh Coulson. Slipped and gone down. Brill's played the ball out for a Salford throw. I don't imagine that Salford will give the ball back. Looked like quite an awkward one there. But just while we've got a break in play, we'll take a look at what's going on elsewhere. Bromley 2, Fylde 2. Still 3-0 to Webbesley away at Chesterfield, and down the road it's still Dagenham Redbridge 3, Boreham Wood 3. Dagenham visit the Peninsula Stadium next Saturday in the FA Trophy second round. That one's pay on the gate if anybody wants to come to that one at the Peninsula Stadium. Otherwise we'll be back at the usual time of 5 to 3 with full live match commentary. FC Halifax Town 0, Braintree Town 0, but suggestions on social media that Braintree are the better side in that one. Salford finished the month away at Halifax. Gateshead 0, Maidenhead United 1. Salford's next league opponents, Gateshead are at the Peninsula Stadium 2 weeks today. Hartlepool 1, Maidstone 2, Hampton Waterlooville 1, Barrow 0. Solihull Moors 3, Eastleigh 1, Sutton United 1, Harrogate 1, George Thompson equalising for Town, and it's Wrexham 0, Dover Athletic 0 at the racecourse ground as Coulson is back on his feet now. Now I don't want to go too early, but as things stand, and that's only as things stand currently, I'm not saying it's what's going to happen. Salford are up to second and 2 points behind Orient. Wrexham down to third as they only draw. Obviously if Wrexham score that will change things, and Wrexham still have that game in hand. So Josh Coulson is going off and Dan Happ's coming on in his place. Looks quite serious for Coulson. Do wish him the best, hope it's not too serious. couple of minutes break in play there. Salford have been keeping themselves warm, knocking the ball around. Got the throw in. Wiseman's up from the back to take it. Nice to do the right thing and just throw it back, but he's giving it to Whitehead. Whitehead on the right hand side, trying to get the cross in, blocked by McAnuff, but the ball comes back to him. Through to Gaffney, now out to Wiseman, and back to Whitehead. Whitehead trying to play the ball through to Gaffney. McAnuff intercepts that one and releases Maguire Drew on the left hand side. Or not, Brophy rather. Brophy moving infield, finds Ling. Now it's Maguire Drew on the right hand side. Taking his first touches in an O shirt to get round Toure. So as the ball came off Toure, the referee disagrees. Rather dramatically, the Orient mascot showing himself down on the grounds in front of the linesman in disbelief, and he's done it again. It's quite an animated character, this. I think it's a griffin, it's not a dragon. Certainly entertaining. I think it was the right decision. I didn't see a ball come up by Fibri Toure. We've got quite a good viewing point up here, high in the main stand at Leyton Orient. Neil's goal kick goes long to Green, but it comes down to Ling. Ling with the ball through, looking for Corona. It's cleared away by Piergianni, throws his head back in the air. I'm not sure there was too much better he could have done with that one. Obviously he feels differently, but Ling with the throw into Lawless, back to Ling, and back to Lawless again, and now pass back to Hap. Hap out to the left to Widowson. As Coulson's made his way back to this near side, gets a warm round of applause from the crowd on this near side, but Orient come forward. In the middle it's with Bon, across to McAnuff, as we thought. It's playing more in the middle now. Maguire Drew gets a cross in, away by Pons, comes down for Liam Nolan, who clears the ball forward. Matt Green chasing down the left hand side, trying to draw Epiteta out of position. Looked like he wanted Epiteta space there, but the referee says no, and Green plays the ball back to Nolan on halfway. Pons out to the right to Wiseman, controls quite a heavy ball. Plays the ball back to Neil in his area, and Neil with the clearance down the right hand side. Whitehead's there, loose out to Widowson. Wiseman heads it forward into the middle, where Lawless knocks it into McAnuff, and back to Epiteta. Walker closing down. Epiteta just gets it clear out to the right though, and now Ling breaks forward. Walker stretching to get back in. Ling stops the ball, and Walker doesn't go flying, but Ling's found Maguire Drew. Maguire Drew tries to catch Chris Neil out with an early shot. Neil again behind that one makes the save. Quite routine in the end. Neil now the clearance forward. Green heads it out to the right. Comes down to Danny Whitehead, playing the ball down for Rory Gaffney. I think he wants it along the ground or to his feet, as opposed to in the air. Whitehead, one of his brace of assists so far in this game, didn't quite oblige. Rory Gaffney, I think he's a face that not many O's fans will want to see face them again soon. Obviously he scored against them on the opening day of the season, and that actually takes his tally to 4 goals in 3 games against Orient. I forgot to mention that one earlier. Here's Widowson, plays the ball back to substitute at the back, Hap, across to Epiteta, now forward into Ling into Maguire Drew. Maguire Drew trying to play the ball through into Bon, who made the run into the area. Salford clear it up into Green. Gaffney's ball forward, comes off Epiteta, back to Gaffney, but it's won back by Lawless. And now Maguire Drew coming forward, down the right into Ling. Ling slips as he tries to put the cross in. Rather unfortunate one, that one, and he goes out for goal kick to Salford. Turf does actually look quite thin. It's a nice big pitch here. It's quite open, but just down in the corners it looks a little bit sanded, a little bit thin. It's got a nice surface to play on though, it looks like. I don't know if the players feel it's any different down there, but from up here that's what it looks like. Ball forward by Niels, one back by Orient, but Pond at the back, heads it forward into Walker, high ball for Green, headed away by Hap, but down into Gaffney, calls for handball. Referee doesn't oblige, and Gaffney plays in Wiseman, breaking forward on the right hand side now. up against Brophy, looking to get the cross in. He does fire one in, but it's straight into the arms of Dean Brill. And Brill rolls the ball out to McInnes in the central position now, up into Bon. Bon moving to the right hand side. Maguire Drew leaves it for Ling. Ling now taking the ball wide, does get the cross in. Neil watching that one. Caroma comes in and stands his ground. Into the back of Chris Neil. Neil made a clean catch, goes to ground. And now get called out by the fans for taking his time. He's under no pressure to be quick here at the Breyer Group Stadium, the side leading 2-0. Now on the edge of his area, plays the ball forward. Green underneath, headed away by Epiteta, comes down to Gaffney, tries to turn down the right, so his path was blocked. He passes the ball out now into Wiseman. Back to Gaffney. Tight on the right hand touchline, back to Wiseman. Whitehead now is under pressure, has to go all the way back to Neil. And Neil first sign, sends his ball up in towards Matt Green's, headed away by Hatt down to Gaffney, who heads it forward down the right, and Green chasing down. Hatt gets across, those two clash, and Orient win a throw in on the left hand side. Widowson takes it quickly, Green still down on the ground. Referee not looking too kindly over that way. Let's play go on. Here's Ling, now down into Maguire Drew, the new number 10. Plays the ball up into Bon, and Bon back to Ling. Now into McInnes, across all the way to Lawless. Lawless onto Widowson on the left hand side, into Caroma. Caroma's got two options on the overlap. Widowson's won them into the area. Nathan Pong gets across just in the nick of time as that ball rolls behind for a Salford City goal kick. Graham Alexander's thinking down on the touchline as Chris Neil gets a word from the referee. He's actually sent off on his last trip here to the Breyer Group Stadium at that end for a foul against the nose forwards when he's playing at Port Vale. It's his last red card of his career. He sends this ball forward. Green plays out to the right hand side, shouts for a high boot. Again, the referee unappeasing. Wiseman up to Gaffney on the right hand side, and Gaffney's ball comes off James Brophy out for a throw into Salford. Interestingly, Graham Alexander's only really got attacking subs to make in Rooney, Lloyd, Desirouvwe and Rodney. Salford a bit short on options. In the middle, Green back down on his haunches. I think it would be wise to bring him off as the physio is invited onto the pitch. Maybe Adam Rooney will get his chance to come on and do battle with Macaulay Bon. I'm sure those will be up there with the contention for the Golden Boot. Matt Green might have a thing or two to say. An incredible haul for him to get enough goals in the closing half of the season. He just tends to finish seasons very strongly. Looking back at his record, and on a glance over Twitter yesterday, you might have seen the little Friday teaser. Well, I hadn't seen the answer. It was Matt Green's career, and it was all the games that he's played against sides currently in the National League. It's not a bad record at that, I tell you, particularly when it comes to scoring the goals. I think he's enjoying life here at Salford after his move from Lincoln in December. Nice little Christmas present for the Salford fans. Meanwhile, down to our right hand side, the Orient Griffin is keeping fans entertained with a succession of roly-polies down on the touchline. Makes for interesting viewing. That's what mascots are there for, to try and keep the crowd entertained. Matt Green's back on his feet now. And makes his way over to the far touchline with Salford physio Steve Phillips. Hopefully it's nothing too serious, but Devontae Rodney, Manny Desirouvwe and Adam Rooney are all out warming up. Salford eventually take the throw. Gaffney's overcrowded by red shirts. Orient's clearance comes off the arm of Liam Nolan, and it'll be a free kick for Leyton Orient. Just short of the centre circle in their own half. Green's back on the pitch now to a series of boos. And Orient have possession on the right hand side. Ling into Mackinoff. Mackinoff over to Widowson. Former West Ham youngster. He's no stranger to the National League. Made a number of appearances for Dagenham and Redbridge before switching in July 2017. Ling on the right hand side into Mackinoff, gets round Nolan, but Nolan brought him down there. And Orient have a free kick in a good position. It's right of the D, certainly within shooting range for someone, maybe 6 or 7 yards outside of the area. And Maguire Drew immediately picking the ball up. And Joby Mackinoff also standing around this one. Macaulay Bonn in the area, as is Josh Koroma. Marvin Epiteta at the back post, maybe looking to get some height in for a chip delivery. Will be Mackinoff on the right, or Maguire Drew with his left hand side. So we've got a 4-man wall with Torre on the periphery. Here is Maguire Drew though, left foot in, it's wide to the near post. Bit too much curl on it from the former Brighton Hove Albion winger. He's going to have to wait for his first goal for Leyton Orient. That would have been some introduction for him. Let off Liam Nolan as well, maybe. Neil with the goal kick, flicked on by Matt Green, comes down into Orient goalkeeper Dean Brill. He's been very much a spectator in this second half. Orient have dominated possession, but Salford have stood up so far. As Piergianni intercepts a clearance by Marvin Epiteta. Comes down to Danny Whitehead. He's got Walker on the overlap down the left hand side. It's a nice ball in towards Walker. As 2 Orient players throw themselves at it. Walker gets another chance to get on the ball and get back forward. And will be a Salford throw high up on the left hand side. Still leading 2-0, just over 10 minutes to go as Torre jogs upfield. Still not much movement on the Salford bench. So I think next weekend FA Trophy Tower will be a chance to rest a couple more players as Epiteta comes through the back of Matt Green and concedes a free kick on the left hand side. Just a couple of yards up from the channel. Matt Green still splayed out on the floor. Salford fans on the far side again finding their voice as Epiteta goes into the book. Salford meanwhile deciding what they're going to do from this free kick on the left hand side. I think it's Tom Walker taking it as Danny Whitehead walks away. Piergianni, Green and Gaffney all in the box, but Orient with a good number of men forward means that Hogan and Pond stay back. Draw is back short for Walker if he wants, but I imagine this will go straight in with Walker's left foot. It does. An outswinger, it's headed on by Gaffney. Green sprinting out to the right hand side, drawing Hap out with him. He needs support though, as Hap shadows him towards the touchline. Green with a shoulder going into Hap, swings a leg, and Hap is penalised for holding back Matt Green there. How's he going to throw in? I think he's going to free kick. Danny Whitehead placing the ball down. Tom Walker also making his way across. 10 minutes to go. Salford still leading 2-0. Set piece here, but very few blue shirts up in the area. Piergianni's still there, and Green and Gaffney also in the box. Walker swings the ball in. Almost, it goes in! I don't know if the touch has come on somewhere, but Salford City with the third. That's an incredible goal. Piergianni wheels away celebrating, because that's his 7th of the season. That is a deft touch beyond all belief. And blue shirts clamour on the far side. It's Leyton Orient 0, Salford City 3. And it's been a brilliant afternoon. It's been awarded to Carl Piergianni. What a touch that is. Wow, Orient coming back forward again. McAnuff playing the ball into the middle, comes back out to him from Lawless as a few Orient fans start to make their way from the ground, so they feel it's game over. Walker, Green, Gaffney thumps it clear down the left hand side. Imagine this is where Graham Alexander maybe wishes that he had another central midfielder at his disposal. Salford come forward again. Green playing the ball out to the left hand side. Danny Whitehead fouled by Lawless. There's a little bit of handbags between those two as well, as Whitehead makes his way back to his feet. And Orient needs to be careful not to lose the heads here. This afternoon hasn't gone the way that they probably perceived it would do. Salford fans, as you would imagine, in fine voice over on the far side and taunting Orient fans. I did hear a brief cheer of "We are top of the league" come out from the Orient end. However, this is somewhat of their sobering afternoon. Salford had it on Boxing Day at Wrexham, and looks like the league leaders having it this afternoon at the hands of Salford. After not the best of starts on the roads to the season, certainly seems like the Ammies are getting used to playing in London at least. Won the last game 3-1 away at Barnet in London. A few class Maidenhead and Bromley as within the refines of London, and won those two as well. Here come Orient. Widowson on the left. I think they're guilty of putting too many players at field. So it was as scant attacking as it was from Salford from that set piece. It was also scant defending. Probably allow Piergianni to get in there, but what a season he's having. 7 goals for him now. Actually takes him to third top scorer for Salford behind Gaffney and Rooney. Torre clears another ball forward. I think even if it is to end like this, the impressive thing for Salford's got to be the defending this afternoon, particularly in the second half, as Orient to really put the Ammies under pressure. They've had long spells up in the Salford final third, but they've just not found a way through. Salford, I think you can see why. At the moment it's 5-4-1. Gaffney playing the right of the midfield 4. There's just not a way through. There's Ling up into Koroma, trying to change that. Dancing his way into the area from the right hand side, squares the ball across the top of the area. McAnuff couldn't get there, but Brophy plays it back into his captain, trying to turn round, but he's blocked by Blue Shirt. And now the Ammies break. Green, though, scuffs his ball through to the left hand side, and it's picked up again by Orient substitute Dan Happ, and comes down the left hand side to Brophy, puts inside of Gaffney, now on into the area on the left hand side, pulls the ball back. Lawless lets it come to him and squares it across now for McAnuff. McAnuff into Koroma. Koroma in the area trying to dribble his way through, but Pond clears that one, and it comes down to Joby McAnuff. McAnuff crosses the ball in towards the far post, and it's evading everybody and through and out for a goal kick to Salford, which Alex Lawless is keen to encourage Neil to take quickly. Goes and fetches the ball for him, and Neil brings it to the far side of his D before placing it down, and Devontae Rodney ready to come on for Salford for the final 5 minutes here. First of the afternoon, I think Rodney just brings a bit more astuteness, a bit more of a physical presence to break up anything Orient are going to throw at Salford in the remaining minutes. Up it goes from Chris Neal eventually. Epiteta heads it clear, but only down into Gaffney in the centre circle. Long ball up forward. Rodney comes from an offside position and is subsequently penalised. Orient get the ball rolling again quickly. It's the last 4 minutes. Here is McAnuff switching play over to the left hand side to Widowson. Now Brophy on the left hand side trying to get past Wiseman and Gaffney. Losing fields and away from goal with Gaffney, turns out again. Eventually finds a way to Koroma. It's quite a way out as he moves into the middle. Squares the ball onto the right to McAnuff. Orient scored late against Salford at the Peninsula Stadium to get a draw, remembers. McAnuff gets a cross in, headed away by Hogan. Comes back off Piergianni and Toure clears it from the left back position. Rodney got field, gets round Ekpiteta. The 221s doing battle, but Ekpiteta recovers quickest. Now passes the ball out to McAnuff. McAnuff now in field, but Gaffney gets the right side of Koroma and he's got Whitehead for support. He plays it in front of Whitehead, who goes down. I don't know if he's pulled up there. Koroma coming forward, comes down to Gaffney, and Gaffney slams the ball forward, which bounces out for a goal kick to Leyton Orient. Don't know if he was actually going for goal there, but Whitehead's back on his feet. No doubt pleased with the relief that his teammate gave him there. And Orient come forward again. Widowson. 2 minutes to go plus any added time. And again, there might be a few minutes for a couple of stoppages. Ling down the right hand side into Maguire Drew. Piergianni gets the right side of him. So I think you can really argue he's been man of the match this afternoon. 2 goals and at the minute a clean sheet. McAnuff down the right hand side. Ling swings a cross in, headed away by Hogan. Again, I don't think he's actually lost any aerial battles this afternoon, the Salford skipper. McAnuff, powerful ball into Maguire Drew, can't get the ball out of his feet, and Toure comes away with possession for Salford, clearing it down the left, only down to Marvin Ekpiteta. Now McAnuff. McAnuff moving in field, looking for an option. He's not got too much on. Looking out to the right hand side, finds Ling this time. Rooney preparing to come on for Salford in place of Whitehead. It looks like he's struggling here. Ekpiteta moves away from Rodney, ball through into Lawless, ball over the top for Bon, and Toure slams it out for a corner to Leyton Orient as Danny Whitehead goes down to ground. Salford can now make the substitution. Another great afternoon as well for Danny Whitehead. Orient fans again with Leyton Orient, we're top of the league, which they are, and I think it was Matt Spycock, NPR writer, said at half time, for anybody who heard, there's a long way this season to go yet, so whether Orient recover from this and they keep going, or whether there's a title challenge from Wrexham or from ourselves, that all remains to be seen. Big news from the racecourse is that it's Wrexham 0, Dover 1, which is interesting result. If that stays as it is, Dover have scored in the 87th minute there, and that's into added time now. Harrogate also losing 2-1, Fylde also losing 3-2. So it really looks like this is Salford City's weekend if things stay how they are. With some comeback. Sorry. Orient still waiting to take this corner. Maguire Drew on the right hand side in towards the near post. Gaffney heads away relatively easily. See how much out of time. I think that's 7 minutes on the assistants board. As Orient take the throw in quickly. Maguire Drew. I think that's probably fair enough. They're having a number of stoppages and he didn't put on the full amounts in the first half. Here's Bon at the top of the area. Plays the ball back to Ekpiteta. Everyone forward again for Orient, apart from the goalkeeper, as Rooney tracks Ekpiteta's run. Now Ling on the right hand side. Back from McAnuff. I like a late goal, Leyton Orient, have to say. As McAnuff swings across in towards the back post. Wiseman's there. Heads behind for a corner to Orient. Goal now could make for a very interesting final 6 minutes as it is now, played minutes of added time. It's that Lawless who's raced across the far side to take this corner. Floats the ball out, swinging away from goal. Hogan rises, heads away, comes down to Ling. Ling gets away from Hogan, but Walker is run into, gets the ball away, comes to McAnuff though. Maguire-Drew back to McAnuff into the area, cuts inside of Rooney, shot blocked by Nolan and Piergianni. And there's a foul by, I think, Ibutore on the left-hand corner of the area. The referee just telling him that's where he's totted up the fouls to get a yellow. And Orient with the free kick now on the right-hand side of the box as they look at things. McAnuff and Maguire-Drew standing over it, but again Maguire-Drew will be the favourite with his left foot and in swinger towards the back post. Hogan heads away, Pond comes in and heads it behind for a corner away from Ekpiteta. Orient continue to build the late pressure here. Played 2 of the minimum 7 to be added on. As Lawless again from the left hand side swings a cross in straight into the gloves of Tris Neal this time, who catches the ball and goes to ground. It's all over at the racecourse. Wrexham 0, Dover Athletic 1. So things stay how they are. Leyton Orient really have missed a chance this afternoon. It's Chris Neal on the edge of his area, still with this ball in possession. We play 3 minutes now of the minimum 7 to be added on. So still 4 to go as Rooney nudges the ball out to Gaffney. Gaffney's blocked by 2 red shirts who win the ball back. And it's Brophy now moving away from Rooney. Plays the ball down the middle, but Pons hoops it clear down the right hand side for Salford. It's not finished yet, rather. Dagenham Redbridge 4, Boreham Wood 4. Plenty of goals this weekend, including 3 here at Orient. Here comes Marvin Ekpiteta moving forward on the right hand side for Orient. Rodney marshalling his run, but Ling down into Maguire-Drew, back to Sam Ling, cuts away from Rodney, plays the ball back for Ekpiteta. Ekpiteta now looking for Bon, it's cleared away by Piergianni. It's kept it quiet this afternoon. It's something I've seen a few Orient fans commenting on, that Bon has been quiet in games. Here comes Maguire-Drew, cross comes off Ibutore, out from another corner to Orient, 6th of the game. I can imagine this is where the final 3 minutes are going to be played out. Dean Brill not coming up, don't think it's worth the risk for 1 goal back. Maguire-Drew up into Joby McAnuff, a good strong leg in by Tom Walker, who turns and plays the ball clear. Brill comes up nearly to the halfway line for Leyton Orient, plays the ball back to Maguire-Drew. Maguire-Drew now sending a ball long diagonal from near the halfway line to touch by Macaulay Bon, but it's a heavy one. It was Dan Happ into the path of Piergianni, and Piergianni heads the ball back to Chris Neal. More full time starting to come in. Halifax 0, Braintree 0, Gateshead 0, Maidenhead United 1. 2 minutes of the minimum added on to go. Neal's clearance comes down to Ling, up over the halfway line on the right hand side for Orient. Salford fans really starting to taunt Orient now with chance of is there a fire drill. Most of the fans on the balconies are still out watching. There's a good number on the far side from us. Maybe they're having some sort of party. I do wonder if they're all Orient fans. Ling down into Maguire-Drew, turns and gets a cross in. Pons away from Macaulay Bon, and Piergianni clears up that loose ball downfield. Now Happ back to McAnuff, down the right hand side in for Ling. Ling 1 more onto Maguire-Drew. Piergianni comes across, gets the block in. Maguire-Drew kept it in, he could have let that one go for corner, and Piergianni actually wins the ball and clears it forward back onto the halfway line. Happ back to McAnuff. McAnuff taking a few steps forward. Orient have an attacking line of 7 now. Maguire-Drew is one of those, headed away by Liam Nolan as the cross comes in, all the way back to Happ. A few whistles starting to come from the crowd. A minute to go of the minimum 7. Here's McAnuff, Now through to Ling, plays it back off for Karoma, gets into the area, goes down past Piergianni. The referee says no penalty. They're thrown for Leyton Orient on the right hand side, and Maguire Drew wanting to take it quickly, but Sam Ling's telling him to get off, get into the area. He wants to throw this one long. Karoma short for it. And Ling actually goes short, back to McAnuff. McAnuff swings across to the top of the area, which Walker clears onto the halfway line to Brill. Urged to shoot, so Salford push up the defensive line. Now the ball comes in long to the right hand side from Lawless, headed away by Torre, comes down to Gaffney, and Gaffney seeing the run of Rodney, and Rodney coming free on the right hand side. Cut this before, Rodney from the top of the area shoots over, just taking the ball in his stride, slightly leaning back there. It's over. That does bring 7 minutes to an end in this game as Brill takes the goal kick, and the referee blows a whistle for full time, and Salford City with an emphatic 3-0 win here at Leyton Orient against the league leaders, closing that gap at the top of the National League down to less points. It was 5 at the start of the day, and it's only 2 now. Both teams have played the same amount of games. And that's an absolutely brilliant win. It was all started off in the opening 10 minutes with those 2 goals from Carl Piergianni and Rory Gaffney, and then added to in the second half by another one by Carl Piergianni, we think. Walker with a free kick from the right hand side, whipped in, and Orient with few defenders back. The ball managed to find its way into the net after a touch by Piergianni. The Salford fans applaud their team, and taking an applause as well on the far side of us. Orient fans also giving their team a round of applause. It has been an enthralling contest, it has to be said, this afternoon. On another day, Orient might have created more chances, but didn't create enough today. And Salford taking full advantage of that, move up to second in the Vanarama National League, just 2 points behind the league leaders.